The year that Reed was born, I had said to my husband, because our youngest at that time was 7, I had said to him, everybody's potty trained and mobile. We're through. We've done our bit to society. And I had a perfect plan. I thought, I can teach school for a half day and get out of debt. My husband thought that sounded good. And within a week or two of that profound statement, we were contacted about adopting a baby boy with Down syndrome, totally out of the blue. They didn't know us, we didn't know them. Our social worker had retired. All the state agency people had retired from the other adoptions. But I knew in my heart that we would get him. They told me there were 5 other families that were interested. And I remember thinking, wow, this is a new day and age. That's great. But I knew that we'd be the ones getting him. And that event just changed so many things for us. We finally talked on the phone, and I just said we're being considered as adoptive parents for a baby with Down syndrome. And there was just silence. He didn't say anything for a minute, and then he said, well, do you remember how old you are? I said, yes. When we adopted Reed, and the woman in charge of the program, there was only one program, and I thought, I'm going to need some help. So I went down, and she said, in the initial interview, love him but don't expect much. And I left there kind of scratching my head and thinking, you don't say that to parents. You don't ever put a limit. I mean, you don't know. The night we got Reed, I checked a book out of the Orem Library, and it had been written in the 60s. And it was a book on developmental disabilities, and it came to the description of Down syndrome. And the terminology they used was mongoloid idiot. And I just thought, I am so offended by that. Then I read the book, and it said, most achieve the level of a 4-year-old. But then you read further, and that's all on people who are institutionalized. So they didn't have a home environment. And of course, as parents started to keep their children instead of institutionalizing them, we found that our kids could do a great deal, not in an institution. I mean, they were cared for physically, but they didn't get the reinforcement and the love and the family that any child needs to grow and develop. We really hadn't focused on reading at all. I read a lot of books to read. He loved them, and we were working on signing, just baby talk sign language, and he was 3 years old. I thought, well, reading will come later. But one day, one of the teachers called me into the classroom, and she said, you need to see this. She said, Reed's reading. And I said, I don't think so. And she said, watch. So as the kids came into class, she had a little A-frame with Pellon name tags that the kids would pick up and put on. And as the kids came in, Reed kind of defeated because he'd read each name tag and then hand it to them. I mean, 100%. There was no course correction on that. And it just blew me away because I kept thinking, okay, boy, am I behind. Here he is pushing me ahead. The I did a kid. He's learned to read.
Take us back to the time when you were looking for services and discovering maybe the limitations that were of what was available in the community and the beginnings of Kids on the Move.
Well, there was a parent support group called Up with Downs. So many parents feel the need to see other parents and to get together. So Brenda and I got together, and she was working down at the program. She was doing some Montessori things because she knew that you could break a task up and teach it stepwise. And so we said, we ought to start something. We knew a couple of therapists, and they had an office, and they had an extra room. We had no money, no funding, nothing. But they had an extra room, and they said that we could use it unless they brought another therapist on board. So we started going there 3 days a week and just doing physical activities. Brenda knew some things and I knew some things, but it still wasn't, we needed to be able to hire the professionals, the ones who knew what to do. I'd never written a grant, and she'd never written a grant. I mean, we're just moms. Anyway, we got the proposal, and we looked at it, and then we laughed our heads off and said, We went down to one of Brenda's husband's business offices, and neither of us had computers, but Brenda's oldest daughter knew comparatively a lot more than we did about computers. So we just sat down there for a couple of days and went through the requirements. We gassed up and we just laughed. We just said, this is so futile. This is so funny. And she was driving, and as we were going, I said, "Do you realize what we said we were going to do? Brenda, look what we said we were going to do." So we said, okay, this is our first attempt. This is an exercise. We made it to the office like 1 minute before 3 and just kind of hoped that everything was collated and got it in. And we had no idea that we'd get the grant. We just laughed and said that was a learning experience.
And how much was that grant for?
$200,000.
$200,000. That's a lot of money.
To me, oh my
that
gosh,
time,
yes.
That was in what? That was probably
86, 87.
87? $200,000 at that time? That's a lot.
So we had to find a place. We used so much of the money to buy the equipment that the therapist started, but we were still in this old school, which we said was great because it had 2 stairways, and that was good therapy, and all of that.
Look for all the positive things that you could find.
Think of all the things you can have. But one of the miracles was just good people from the community that took a chance.
That's true.
And I think of those teachers and therapists in the beginning. I mean, they were really taking a chance because it was probably obvious to them that I didn't know what I was doing.
It didn't, but I did a good job figuring it out.
Had a lot of help.